The Republican power grab in North Carolina has been stopped. Now, a panel of judges in a brief ruling issued on Wednesday put a hold on a law that would have required Governor Roy Cooper's nominees to head state cabinet agencies to undergo confirmation hearings before the state legislature. So basically what's going on is that back in December, North Carolina's Republican legislature had passed several measures to effectively strip the incoming governor, a Democrat, Roy Cooper, of power after he was able to successfully oust Governor Pat McCrory, who was a Republican. Now, according to CNN, Senate Bill 4 had removed state county election board from Democratic control, slowed legal battles path to the state Supreme Court, where a majority of justices were appointed by Democrats, and made the Supreme Court elections partisan rather than nonpartisan. That's just one of them. Another bill, House Bill 17, blocked Cooper from appointing any members to the State Board of Education and to the Board of Trustees for the University of North Carolina system. Now, all in all, these bills would have reduced the number of appointments up to the Cooper administration from 1,500 down to 300. So, massive power grab by the Republicans in limiting Governor Roy Cooper's power. Now, after these bills were passed, of course, Cooper, he's like, oh, you're going to limit my power? Well, I'm going to sue you. They sued, claiming that it was unconstitutional under the state legislature, state constitution. And hey, it turns out we had a victory. He actually won. Now, this decision, as well as the state election board measure that he ruled against back in December, the panel of judges basically agreed. Yes, this is against the state constitution. You can't just sit there and strip rights away from the governor. You can't do that. That is unconstitutional. They have these special constitutional powers for the state. You can't just take that away. So, great. Now, upon learning, of course, his victory, Cooper said in a statement, quote, "We need to put these partisan confirmation games behind us and get on with repealing HB 2, which is incredibly unpopular. That's the bathroom bill. Raising teacher pay and getting better jobs for North Carolinians. The court is absolutely correct in the decision and should not be intimidated by threats from legislative leaders." Now, what am I talking about? Threats. Well, we'll get to the Republican statement after this. But basically, we can all kind of recognize that this was nothing more than a petty plan to limit the power of an incoming administration because they were the member of an opposite political party. So that's what we have. And this is called being a spiteful loser. You lost. You don't just get to say, okay, we're going to burn the place before we go. That's essentially what they were doing. And thankfully, the courts ruled on the side of, you can't actually do that. We're going to put your fires out because you cannot limit the power of an incoming governor just because you don't like him. That's not how this whole thing works. Now, it, of course, seems pretty clear. Nonetheless, Republicans are pissed that their little coup failed. Republicans in Raleigh said the judges have overstepped their authority. State Senate President Phil Berger and House Speaker Tim Moore, both Republicans, said the decision violated the separation of powers over a duly passed law. Now, that's actually incorrect. As I keep mentioning, the state constitution gives those powers to the governor to appoint people. You tried taking it away. If anybody was overstepping their bounds, it's you guys. But he continues, this unprecedented move would be like the legislature telling a judge what jurors to pick to decide in a case. Berger and Moore said in a joint statement, judges are not legislators. If these three men want to make laws, they should hang up their robes and run for a legislative seat. Well, I bet they'd love that. But seriously, no. Again, they're using the word unprecedented without knowing what it actually means. What's unprecedented was this enormous power grab, a blatant attempt at disempowering an incoming governor because, again, they're a member of the opposite political party. This is what Republicans do. They don't want to give up their power. And when they're forced to, when they lose an election, nope, can't do that. We're going to try and limit your power. We're going to try and grind you to a halt because we don't want progress at any cost. They don't want to get rid of HB2, which, by the way, has cost the state of North Carolina millions of dollars in business. They want to keep that ridiculous law about bathrooms. Bathrooms. You want to talk about overstepping your bounds? You're trying to legislate where people pee. That's ridiculous. That's big government stepping in and trying to regulate things that it shouldn't regulate. Again, overstepping your bounds. You want to talk about overstepping your bounds? That's exactly a good example of that. No, these Republicans, it's just nothing more than ridiculous Republican hypocrisy. And I'm glad that these judges finally put it to rest. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.